Have you ever felt the air get sucked right out of a massive stadium? That terrifying split second where tens of thousands of screaming fans suddenly freeze. They hold their breath, eyes glued to a tiny screen on the sideline, waiting for a single man in black to dictate their fate. Welcome to Total Football Nexus. What we are witnessing right now in the FIFA World Cup is not just a game of football, it is an intense psychological war. Qatar versus Switzerland. The tension is so thick you could cut it with a knife. And if you thought the first half was going to be a slow, tactical feeling-out process, you were dead wrong. The first 45 minutes have been an absolute bloodbath of aggression, drama, and VAR controversy. But how did we get to a point where the game nearly exploded just 15 minutes in? Let me take you back to the kickoff. From the very first second the whistle blew, you could tell this match was going to be different. Switzerland did not just come to play, they came to dominate. They stepped onto the pitch with a suffocating presence, locking down the midfield and immediately establishing control of the ball. The Swiss players moved like a machine, calculating every pass, every run. But Qatar, fighting with the heart of lions in front of a watching world, refused to just roll over and let them dictate the tempo. Qatar knew that to survive against a clinical European side, they had to make it physical, they had to make it uncomfortable, and that is exactly what they did. The tackles flew in, the physicality was absolutely brutal, and the referee was immediately put under immense pressure to keep a lid on a match that was threatening to boil over into pure chaos. But the real turning point, the moment that will be replayed over and over again, started to unfold just before the 15-minute mark. Imagine the scene. The Swiss midfield orchestrates a brilliant sequence of passes, slicing through the Qatari defense like a hot knife through butter. Suddenly, there's a dangerous, probing ball played deep into the penalty box. A Swiss attacker makes a blinding run. Qatar's goalkeeper, Mahmoud Abounadah, knows he has to make a split-second decision, stay on his line and risk a point-blank shot, or rush out and try to smother the danger. In the absolute heat of the World Cup, adrenaline takes over. Abounadah rushes out. There's a massive collision. Bodies hit the floor. The crowd erupts into a deafening roar of appeals. At first, it seems like Qatar has survived. The play continues. The Qatari defenders are screaming at the referee to book the Swiss player for diving. The Swiss players are swarming the referee, demanding justice. But then, the dreaded signal happens. The referee touches his earpiece. The game comes to a dead halt. The video assistant referee has spotted something. For what feels like an eternity, the entire stadium is plunged into a state of agonizing suspense. You can see the fear creeping into the eyes of the Qatari players. You can see the desperate hope on the faces of the Swiss. The referee jogs over to the monitor. He watches the replay once, twice, 3 times. The tension is unbearable. What is he going to decide? Does he wave it off, or does he point to the spot? He turns around, he blows the whistle, and he points firmly to the penalty spot. A VAR penalty awarded to Switzerland in the 15th minute. The stadium absolutely explodes. But the drama does not end there. The referee marches straight toward the Qatari goalkeeper, Mahmoud Abounadah, reaches into his pocket and pulls out a yellow card. The psychological damage is instantly done. Now you have a goalkeeper who is booked, frustrated, and forced to face one of the most high-pressure moments of his career just a quarter of the way into the match. But who's going to step up to take the penalty? Who has the ice-cold veins required to bury this opportunity and shatter Qatar's hopes? The answer to that question would define the entire half. The man standing over the ball was none other than Breel Embolo, a striker known for his power, his precision, and his absolute ruthlessness in front of the net. As the referee blew the whistle for the penalty to be taken, the stadium went dead silent for a fraction of a second. Embolo began his run-up. It was a slow, calculated, agonizingly deliberate approach. He kept his eyes fixed entirely on the goalkeeper, waiting for even the slightest flinch, the tiniest twitch that would reveal which way Abounadah was going to dive. Abounadah tried to hold his ground, doing his best to look big, but the pressure of the moment was simply too immense. He committed just a fraction of a second too early. Embolo saw it. With a brilliant stroke of genius, Embolo opened up his body and smashed a magnificent, unstoppable strike straight into the back of the net. The 16th minute, 1-0 for Switzerland. The Swiss bench erupted. The players piled onto Embolo near the corner flag in a frenzy of pure joy and relief. They had drawn first blood in a match that was proving to be an absolute war. But if you thought scoring a goal would calm the game down, you have no idea how World Cup football works. The goal did not extinguish the fire. It threw gasoline on it. Qatar, now trailing and desperate to get back into the match, completely abandoned their cautious approach. They started throwing bodies forward. They challenged for every single loose ball as if their lives depended on it. But this desperation came at a heavy, heavy cost. The match deteriorated into a series of fierce fouls and angry confrontations. The referee was blowing his whistle constantly, desperately trying to regain control of a game that was slipping through his fingers. Just minutes after the goal, the Qatari midfielder Jassim Gabr lunged into a reckless challenge. It was a tackle born out of pure frustration, a desperate attempt to win back possession from a Swiss team that was confidently knocking the ball around the park. The referee did not hesitate for a second. Out came another yellow card. That made it 3 yellow cards in the first 45 minutes alone. Mahmoud Abounadah, Jassim Gabr, and the incredibly aggressive Swiss midfielder Denis Zakaria, who had been enforcing his physical will all game. 3 players walking a dangerous tightrope. One more mistake, one more slightly mistimed tackle, and their team could be reduced to 10 men. For the rest of the first half, Switzerland put on a masterclass in game management. They didn't rush, they didn't panic, they held onto the ball with incredible composure, making the Qatari players chase shadows across the pitch. Every time Qatar managed to get a touch, a Swiss player was right there, pressing aggressively, suffocating the space, and immediately winning the ball back. It was a display of absolute dominance. Switzerland dictated the pace, the tempo, and the emotional state of the entire match. They systematically drained the energy out of the Qatari squad, forcing them to defend deep into their own half, isolated, frustrated, and completely starved of any meaningful possession. As the referee finally blew his whistle to signal the end of the first half, the scoreline read 1-0, but the reality on the pitch felt much heavier. Switzerland goes into the dressing room completely in control, riding the massive momentum of that brilliant VAR penalty from Breel Embolo. Qatar, on the other hand, heads into the tunnel battered, bruised, and carrying the heavy burden of 2 dangerous yellow cards and a frustrating goal deficit. The Qatari manager has a monumental task ahead of him. He has exactly 15 minutes to completely rewire their strategy, calm the frayed nerves of their players, and figure out a magical way to break through a Swiss machine that looks totally unstoppable today. The second half promises to be an absolute spectacle of pure desperation, radical tactical adjustments, and heart-stopping football. Will Qatar find a way to perform a miracle and equalize, or will Switzerland ruthlessly exploit the gaps and finish them completely? To know more about this, head over to our channel and watch the next video right now.